I want to give them 5 tips to a successful marriage. Number 1, God is and He is a rewarder of those who do diligently seek Him. 2, I want you two to love each other. You might not always like each other, but I want you to love each other, always. 3, intimacy. There's going to come a time when you want your own space, but don't ever want to be separated. 4, communicate. You might not always want to talk, but don't ever stop communicating. Rule number 5 is keep foolish people out of your marriage.
As the saying goes, the journey to forever begins with a step. So today we look at the steps of marriage. And we started off by asking, when is the right time to pop the question?
There's never a right time. Before, the one thing I would tell, I learned from my mentor, for you to say you want to get married, and marriage has one of the major things of marriage is responsibility. If you're responsible for yourself, and you are ready to be responsible for somebody else's daughter.
Okay, when is the right time to pop a very big question that every lady is looking for? Will you marry me? For me, the right time to pop a question is when you both are ready to go into the marriage.
Okay, you must have made sure that two of you are on the same page. Like your belief. How many kids do you want to have?
And how so the role of responsibility, if you can have a mix of income that you know very well that can take care of you and can take care of somebody else. That's 1. 2, shelter. You know very well that you have a place of your own which you stay here, so you can welcome somebody comfortably.
For some Christians, we tend to be sort of spirituality in the sense that we tend to say, okay, we want to pray and wait for maybe a divine voice. I'm not saying it's the wrong bad thing. It works for some people, but personally, I feel when it gets to the right time, you will know. A man will know.
It's not just because, okay, as a guy, my friends are getting married. I think it's time for me to pop a question.
It's just like waking up in the morning when you're sleeping. Nobody tells you this is the right time for you to wake up when you know you have to go to work. When it gets to that point in time when you need to wake up, you will wake up. So that's basically my own opinion.
When you both are ready for commitment and to go into the marriage journey, you can pop a question and ask that lady if she will marry you. It's not because of pressure. Maybe your parents are pressuring you. It's time for you to get married. Okay, that's not when you start popping a question, because if you pop it in without preparation, that's why you're getting
in an income of maybe you're in an income of a particular figure and you know very well this particular time this figure can take care of me and take care of what I'm coming with the person's other support, you can make it more larger. Yes. So when the person comes in, you can grow together. Then if you have an apartment that can take both of you, when the person comes in, you can grow together from this small apartment to another apartment. So as long as you are ready, in the sense that there's an accommodation and there's a source of income, I think, and then every other thing can fall in place, then you can pop the question. But you can't pop the question when you're still staying under somebody's roof and you're still feeding under somebody's. You don't have a job, and so you must have a job. You must have an accommodation.
Can a woman propose?
So this question based on our own environments. Speaking as Africans, it's expected that the man should be the one to do.
Okay, so for me personally, my own value system, I'll prefer the man to be the one to take the step.
To me, yes, a man should be the one to propose, but in a situation whereby the lady feels that's the right thing for her to do, she got it.
We believe that it is a man's responsibility to do that, but for me, a lady can propose. A lady can propose, and if a lady proposes, it's fine.
I think women too have their ways without without coming out outrightly and telling the man that will you marry me? And it's not like it's not happening these days. It is happening. I think we've seen few in social media.
I don't see myself as a lady walking up to a man that I like and telling him all I feel about him. I don't think it's a norm that should be encouraged. I don't think it's a value system that should be encouraged in our time. Even lots of young ladies now are becoming so bold, even proposing to a man. Like how now? For me, I don't think it works. For me, but if it works for any other person, beautiful. Because we've had series of stories or even relationships that are working and are still working and have worked. Where it was the lady that aired her view and said, "Guy, I like you. What do you think?" And the guy is like, "Okay, yeah, I like you too. Let's go." But for me, I would prefer the guy to walk up to me and tell me how he feels.
The lady can propose, so it depends on what we learned from our father or what we learned from the society or from the culture. But I don't think it is wrong for a lady to propose.
What's important for me is that these two individuals, like it's recorded in the Bible, that a man shall leave his father's house and shall cleave. When it gets to that point that two people have that understanding and knowing that they are going to spend their lives together, it could come from either there are some men too that they need push. If the woman does not push them in her own way, it won't happen.
Tell us about your wedding budget.
To give a specific amount, but you have to cut your coat according to your size.
Okay, so my own wedding budget, like I've been saying earlier, we got married during COVID, so we didn't have like a big celebration. Even though yes, we wanted to, but because of the restriction, we didn't have like a very big celebration. So we just had to do package and then we give to people after the church.
My wedding budget, I think we didn't have a specific budget. We only just know that the people who are inviting are not less than 100, and we were able to manage the cost in terms of the venue. But we just know that this is the amount we don't want to spend.
Okay, my wedding budget was based on my income at that point in time. It wasn't anything more outside the ordinary, maybe too extravagant. It was more about knowing what I have and managing what I have to get to what I needed.
For example, we had a fixed amount that, okay, the husband, myself, this is the amount I'm intending to spend. My wife, this is the amount she wants to spend. And so we just had to say, okay, this is, so when we went to look for the event center, we got some spacious, but at the long run, we had to just shoot on what our budget falls under. So
we had to cut down on our budget because yes, we are just starting life as young people. So there's no point going to do what you want to do. What we could afford, we closed everything down. What was necessary was what we went ahead for. The things that were not necessary were not catered for. We had food, we had drinks, we had souvenirs to make people remember, okay, yes, so when I went for Chioma's wedding, this was what we were doing. We had all of that. And it was beautiful.
What we did was we tried not to shoot above budget.
I got a couple of supports to them at the time, so it wasn't extravagant. I can't place a certain amount of money went in and the day came and it passed. That's all I can say.
Wedding list and bride price review.
In my own case, I think it was fair.
Bride price review and wedding list. Man, some families used to make these things to want to kill the young man that wants to get married. But crying out loud, your daughter is getting married. So why do you want to kill this woman with wedding list? Tradition. These traditions were set by human beings.
Wedding list given to me, I remember I was so lucky, and the good thing is my in-laws were very good people. When my father-in-law called me to come for the lists, I went with my uncle to pick it up. So we got there, we collected it, I took it back to my people. We looked at it and said, okay, yes, we can still go back to negotiate on it. So I went back and I spoke to my father-in-law. It was way less of the expectation. It wasn't compared to where I'm coming from. My wife is from the western part of the country, on those states, and me, I'm from the eastern part of the country, Imo State precisely. So compared to where I'm coming from, it was way low less, and I still went to negotiate it, and we were able to remove some things.
There was a level of compromise. There was where we could meet, and bottom line, it wasn't so difficult to get everything on this.
And humans are known for making mistakes. Okay, so we had our own wedding list, and yes, it was, even though it wasn't that much, but we looked at it, and I told my father, I said, this thing is plenty, can we something, let's remove some, because I know where I'm going to, I know how I am starting. I can't ask my husband to spend all the money he has to settle family and tradition. Then when I enter into his house, I will not be looking at him. He will not say, maybe I spent the money to your family. No. So we had to cut down some things with the understanding of my parents. My parents were super understanding. I'm really grateful for them till today, till tomorrow.
Were these things that can happen in a wedding?
I think that's normal. It comes with the territory. If there's no weird situation around the wedding, especially when you're having a reception, it's part of the wedding. If it's not there, then it's not the wedding.
Is when the groom or the bride did not show up?
About the one that happened in my hometown, the parents didn't support the wedding, and on that particular day while the wedding was going on, the parents sent some people. They came and they scattered everywhere, took their daughter, and they left. The reason being that the bride price was not fully paid completely.
The weirdest thing that happened in Nigerian African wedding, food will finish. Meat will not be enough. Meat is never enough. Even if you kill a cow, meat is never enough. Families can decide to fight amongst each other. Funny enough, in my own wedding, the food finished. Myself and my husband, we did not eat. Imagine planning a wedding, dropping money for food, and you did not eat one rice in your wedding. That doesn't happen to us. We had to go out to an eatery after the wedding to buy.
That's the wedding. No matter how much of quantity of meat we got. Okay, let me use mine as an example. Initially, when we were planning, the original plan was for 200 guests. And when I spoke to the caterer, she said for 200 guests, what kind of my siblings prepared at least for 100 people. My uncle brought food. The caterer that I carried, that I had hired, and when they started serving food, in less than 30 minutes, said food is finished. That 200, she served 200. How come we serve 200 to it when the instruction or the agreement we had is 150? So why did you come with 200 plates? So that's a weird situation.
Pro tip for spending less on a wedding.
You have to cut your coat according to your size.
Okay, so pro tip for your wedding: stick on what is necessary. Whatever is not necessary, forget it.
Okay, the only tip I can give is maybe not to have a wedding reception. That's all. Because if you say you want to have a wedding reception, even if, for example, you said you want to be depending on your pocket, said your budget is 10 million or 5 million or 1 million, whichever way you put it. My dear, be rest assured you will spend more than that, because there are some other things that will crop up outside. There are some things that you provide, you make provision for, paid for, that will be either delayed, disappointed, or get destroyed, that you have to rebuy, remake.
You don't ever satisfy people at wedding. They are never satisfied. If you like, go and bring the Queen of England to come for your wedding, Nigerians specifically will never be satisfied. So please, satisfy what you and your husband can do. The rest does not matter.
Alcohol in Christian wedding.
Yeah, I don't think it's a sin. For me, I don't think it's a sin.
To me, I don't think Christians should have alcohol.
My wedding, they were called. I didn't serve alcohol because it's not the value. It's not the value I portray.
I wouldn't have alcohol in my own wedding. I didn't have alcohol when I got married. Not because we got married during the COVID where it wasn't a big celebration. Even if we had had a big celebration, I wouldn't have gotten alcohol because I do not succumb to alcohol as a Christian.
And as Christians, we are supposed to portray a certain standard of living, and how we project our ways of life out there. But I'm of this opinion that when you are inviting people, to whatever it is that you're doing, you should be ready to, especially when you are not screening the people, or you didn't outrightly tell them, while you're inviting them, that this is why I'm inviting you.
But that does, I didn't serve it, but other people that brought it in were allowed to bring it in.
I don't have anything against that. I do not have anything. I just say I'm indifferent about it.
The value system for me that I do not like. I don't drink, so I shouldn't aid my guests in my wedding to drink. So I wouldn't supply them drink alcohol. You can bring your own alcohol and drink, but for me, I wouldn't buy alcohol on my wedding day. And I didn't get alcohol when I got married, so.
For my own values, like I said earlier, because I have a value, I don't take alcohol. So I shouldn't give people alcohol. So I choose not to sell alcohol in my wedding.
Unbelievers bring alcohol to their weddings. You as a believer bring alcohol to your wedding. So what's the difference?
Secular music in Christian weddings.
My brother, let's enjoy secular music. Enjoy yourself. It's a time to have fun. So,
Yes, but it depends on the kind of secular songs. Like this song, "It's Your Wedding Day" is a secular song, but I love that song. So if I'm getting married, I would love the DJ or whoever to sing.
Likes to dance. That does not mean I live and I breathe in secular music. No, I still mind what my spirit listens to. But when it comes to dancing, just for that moment I will dance. So if I had a reception, I didn't have a reception because of the COVID. If I had a reception, I'm sure they would have played secular music and I would have danced. Honestly, I would have, because I love to dance.
As an example, there's a certain music that were not gospel music, let me put it that way, that I mentioned and I asked the DJ to play. I think when me and my wife were done after the dance, our couple dance, I requested for Simi, Love Don't Care, because of the lyrics. So the lyrics speaks more, carries the message of how we both got together, how it happened, or let me just put it that way. So when in some contents we could call it secular music, but that particular track, I don't, the storyline there has nothing to do with, was not in any way inappropriate.
The value of the secular song, what's the message? The message should be well defined. The message should pass a good message. And there are some secular messages that are very good listening. So as long as you dance to the beat, dance to the tune, and just enjoy yourself.
Secular music, play and dance, but that doesn't mean every day you feed your spirit, because what is important is what you are feeding your spirit with.
Should pregnancy be the reason for the wedding?
That is risky. For me, I would say that's very risky.
Pregnancy shouldn't be the reason for you to get married to somebody you do not love. Trust me.
For me, no. One of that thing we've done, we built a culture of when the lady gets pregnant, it becomes mandatory or compulsory that the guy has to marry her, which now brings to an extent because there's no love, or because there's no value in the marriage, or there's no purpose. It brings marriage abuse. It brings all sorts of things: insults, abuse, irresponsibility, and so I don't support marriage should be the reason for wedding.
Wants to marry you, not because they love you, but because there's a child involved. Me, I wouldn't even try.
Even though I don't support single motherhood or single parenting, but because you're pregnant with someone does not mean you have to marry the person. If both of you values don't align, that marriage cannot survive. That child is just going to be raised in an environment that will destroy the future and the mindset of that child. So yes, if you're pregnant for someone and your value system don't align, you don't love the person. It doesn't mean you should marry the person. All of you can decide to raise a very good child, separate ways as single parents, and get married to whoever you want to.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, both agree. I won't get married to you. Yes, you're pregnant. I take responsibility of it, but you will not be my wife. Yeah, well, everything has to be with the child. Then maybe the man should be responsible for it, but it shouldn't be a reason for marriage.
So many people say are involved when it comes to a pregnancy coming up before the wedding. A pregnancy, apart from the two individuals that are primarily the main people, you're also talking about the families of both sides, religion, society. And there have been a lot of cases where after the pregnancy they maybe get married or cohabitate, and somehow love and everything things develop from there. So it could work that way, but personally, from a personal point of view, I do not have anything against that, but personally, when love is not there, I do not feel that anybody should be forced into spending the rest of his or her life with a person because pregnancy occurs.
An unfair moment before the wedding. Do you cancel or carry on?
Oh, hell no!
That has to do with trust, because I strongly believe there should be signs. There should be red flags.
I will call off the wedding big time. Call it off.
I don't know. I've never been in this situation, but I do not think that what will be coming in that person's head, either the male or the female, will be the finance or what has gone into the thing. What will be coming to one's head is the time and effort and every sacrifice that has been invested into that.
So I will pause the wedding. I will place the wedding on hold. Reason being that I want to find out what led to that affair. Has it been long going, or is it just something that happened by mistake? I want to find out the sole reason for that.
There should be, if the marriage as a person, either the male or the female, one should know the red flag. If you know very well that if you're convinced that this person should be my wife or this person should be my husband, before you get that conviction, there should be red flags which you've seen, yes, God gave us choices. One thing God has given to us has been grace, the second thing has been choice. So if you see those red flags and you know very well this red flag will definitely cause issues, before you fix the date, you should know this thing.
It's something that I know, yes, I can forgive and go ahead, then the wedding will continue. But if after finding out the reasons for that affair, I'd rather not put myself through years or a lifetime of torture. The marriage is just starting and I'm starting with an affair. Like an issue of an affair with my soon-to-be husband. Come on. It's either we end it or put it on hold till we are both settled to get married.
It depends on how it happened. And how I get to find out.
Would you end the wedding if your partner don't want kids?
Okay, if he says he doesn't want kids, I'll ask the right questions. I'll ask him if, okay, you don't want kids, is it like in the next 3 years, 5 years?
Initially, when I was thinking of getting married, when we were planning to get married, I would say I didn't want to have children at that point in time. That's the goal. My idea about getting married is at that point in time is to have at least a year or 2 or even 3 years with my partner without children. That was my idea, is to live and love this, learn to love this person, or let me say enjoy my life with that person.
With one of the values I mentioned, communication, it will be shocking why before a wedding date these things have not been discussed, these things have not been defined.
Oh yes, I will end the wedding. I love kids, I love children, God knows, I love children. So
but then I didn't have that discussion with my spouse at the time when we were courting. But when we got married and I realized that she wanted children at that point in time, I think that kind of changed the whole narrative about God. So that's why it's kind of difficult for me to answer this question, because I do not know the mindset of who would be either spouse being in a relationship with one another and one person saying I do not want children and the other person saying I want children. I personally don't think that relationship will work, because every relationship, whether be it marriage, anything whatsoever, partnership in any business, there has to be a compromise.
Then if he says throughout the marriage he doesn't want kids, then to me it's a no.
Like how? I love children. Personally, I really love children. And even the Bible has told us one of the reasons why he asked the man to leave and cleave. It's also to reproduce. I'm sorry, whatever you feel about it, but reproduction is one of the reasons and the essence of marriage. So if you don't like kids, then what are we doing now? Yes, I know companionship is key in marriage. Yes, that's one of the first reasons when you go for marriage class, they'll tell you, yes, for companionship first. If kids don't come, but first of all, know that your companion is beautiful. Or you can't say you don't want kids at all. Like if your parents had said they didn't want kids, you wouldn't be around. So why are you saying you don't want kids?
Some people will end the wedding because there's no communication and it's issue. So, and while some people will say, okay, what's the reasons? What are the reasons? Is it health issues? Is it what's the word now? What's that word now? Not just finance, readiness in the mind. Bringing up a baby, raising family has to be readiness from the mind, and being afraid or being scared that I don't think I'm ready to bring any baby into this world. On that thing too, it has to do with finance.
Things to know before your wedding date.
Things to know are purpose of the marriage. You know the purpose of the marriage already. You know the values already. The communication is going on well. You see those values that I mentioned: kindness, temperance, what's it called? Communication. Those values are there and are well and are very, very well defined, and you're seeing them already. These are the things you should know before going to the wedding. And also financial status also of both parties.
You have to know your genotype, and the groom has to go and meet the family of the bride to be, and the bride to be has to go and meet the family of the groom.
Now, from my own experience, before we fixed our wedding date, we had made sure that we had done all the requirements that the church had given to us. We had gone through marriage path. We had gone through going to the marriage registry to go set everything before we fixed our dates. Not just because, okay, I want to get married in May. I think May or April is when people really get married. So you just go and fix your wedding date. You're going to align with your church or your mosque if you're a Muslim or whoever you worship. Align with them first, and then before you fix it.
And you also have to go and meet your pastor. You have to tell your pastor. Okay, and to know if the date is convenient, because you can't just go and pick a date without telling the church to know if that date is convenient, it's okay for the church. And you also have to know the cost of things in the market, whether you have to do a private wedding or you want to be doing big. But if you have the money, you can trade big. But
What are the values of Christian wedding and marriages?
values of Christian wedding, the aim of every marriage or wedding is to give glory to God.
Okay, so for me, the most important values in a Christian marriage is love, commitment, togetherness, self-discipline.
To me, number one is trust. I'll say patience. What's the other one? My value, trust, patience, temperance, charity.
As a bride, you have to make sure your dressing is modest, and also that of your bride squad, you have to make sure that you're not the only person who is dressed modest. You also have to make sure that they come out decent.
Love, commitment, togetherness, self-discipline. Love. You need love in your marriage for you to thrive. you both need to love each other, because love, like the Bible has told us, covers multiples of sin. So no matter what your spouse or your partner does, when you feel like, okay, I love this person, I can be able to forgive the person for what this person did.
Communication, diligence, and kindness. That's for me. That's for mine.
Self-discipline, you need discipline. There's some things you need to discipline yourself in. So that, because the devil will continually tempt you, but you have self-discipline and as a value system, the marriage will thrive throughout whatever the devil is doing. Togetherness, you need to do things together. And you need to do a lot of things together so that you can build friendship, you can build together.
How do you handle a controversial wedding budget, especially when it's for a competitive purpose?
I would say don't let anybody put you under pressure. Just, if you want to be good, you tell them your budget. And if they don't want to add to it or help you with.
So if the bride's family wants to spend money and the groom doesn't have such enough money, and the bride's family is willing to spend, let him just sit down and enjoy the life and enjoy. I have a beautiful day.
To me, no. The reason is because the parents, even if they want to do it and the man can't afford it, they are only doing it for show off. They are doing it to satisfy their taste among their colleagues, amongst their friends, among their circle.
For a lot of people, that's worked out fine. If the family of the bride chooses to sponsor the wedding, and the groom himself is said to be honest and saying that this, and they all know that this is his budget, this is what he earns, and he doesn't have the financial weight or strength to bankroll a lavish maybe society wedding based on their own social background of them, and they feel that they want to have a wedding of their choice. There's an understanding, and there's an understanding and respect that at the end of the day it won't turn out to appear to look as an insult for the guy himself, his personality.
To me, yes. You can have that wedding, but I have one advice. Please don't let them take care of the food and the drink, because your family is my head of not eating. So
definitely the parents can sponsor that wedding that day. Definitely the friends of the parents will definitely give them gifts and cars and everything. But is the man capable enough to maintain those gifts, those cars and the rest after that wedding? What happens?
It lies between the husband and the wife. If none of these parties are the ones interested in the competitive purpose, they can go ahead and do what they are interested in.
So I think the man should stand his foot and say, this is the budget. Yes, thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much for agreeing to sponsor. But I would rather say we'll do this on our own and just support us from not from the best way you can. But not
impress your competitive purpose to the group that are just starting level. Except if you have the money to sponsor it. But if you don't have the money, please stick to what both of you want to do.
Ashwebi and exorbitant prices.
My perception, no. Ashwebi is good for weddings. It makes it colorful, it makes it beautiful, it makes it unique. But paying exorbitant fee for it, for me, is a no-no.
Well, Ashwebi. Nigerians, we like Ashwebi. But it's not compulsory to pay an exorbitant fee. If you know your company of friends are people that can spend that much for looking good, why not give them a Ashwebi of 35,000, 40,000, 50,000 when you know the company of your friend can pay? But you cannot be giving the company of your friend that can pay 5k, 50,000. Then you are way to pay.
Ashwebi, I think honestly I'm the wrong person to ask this question. The Nigerian that we are now, and the world at large, Ashwebi is part of it. It has come in norm. Let me put it that way. So in order not to cause problem for myself, I would say people should just do whatever it is that they want to do. But personally, I do not feel that. I won't just say I do not feel. Let me know when people should myself feel. Like, in my own wedding, I chose. There were colors I was choosing, but I did not force anybody to buy Ashwebi. Anybody that called in for Ashobi, I just told you, just the idea, the thing is that this is the color. This is the color that we chose. You can go out there and buy whichever material quality or whatever you wish to get based on your budget. Since it's your cloth, you want to make our event colorful. Bless our day that they make our day colorful that day. So that was what happened in my own case. I didn't sell.
I would say yes, but just see it as supporting a friend. Yeah.
So there's also a positive side of Ashobi. You can use it to support the groom and the bride for that wedding. Yes, some people use Ashobi to raise money for the wedding. But where we frown at is you buy an Ashobi of 10,000, you come and sell it 90,000. You're using us to cash out.
What's the guide when there's non-acceptance of the union?
When there's non-acceptance, I've always told my friends, people that I know, if there's non-acceptance from the family members, put that wedding on hold.
I'll say let it rest. Let it rest. Don't force it. If there's reasons best known to, whether from the bride's or the lady's family or from the male and the man's family. The man's family giving reasons why, or saying whatever reason they say, whether biased or not, that you are not supporting.
You want to spend the rest of your life with this person, and that's why they tell young people you have to put God first. You don't just go ahead and make that decision, because if you pray and you hear from God and somebody else is saying don't do this and you know you heard from God, that same God that told you go ahead, even if people are trying to challenge you, will at the end of the day will give those people peace of mind.
It's where myself, like I mentioned earlier, I'm from the eastern part of the country, and my parents were saying it would be difficult for them to accept the western part of the country, my wife, and after much persuasion, to the extent of going to marriage class without their consent. So when it got to the consent from the council asking us, are your parents, have they agreed to this? We had to tell them no, and they said the church can't accept it until we get. So we went back to our drawing board, went back into prayers, and what I did was I had to go through my uncle to help persuade my parents.
Look for measures, or try to make them see reasons why both of you have decided to spend your life together. But if after that they still are adamant, personally I would say,
because you are getting married into that family, and if that family do not like you, they will make it a living hell for you in that marriage. Yes, you are married to your husband, it's you and him, but there's nothing, you also need the family in one or two things.
First thing is go back to prayer, go back to God. One of the important thing is, if you're very sure that both of you are compatible in terms of you have that leading, you have that conviction that this is my wife, this is my husband, put everything in God's hands. I don't know very well that God will make everything come to pass.
So you just have to prayerfully hold on and pray that marriage into alignment, pray that family into alignment. The scripture has told us that the heart of a king is in God's hands, and he turns it wherever he wants to. So you pray the heart of your in-laws to like you and to favor you, to work for you. And I bet you it works.
My experience was, yes, my parents gave consent, but they didn't attend because of reason best known to them, their church norms. So, but they gave consent that okay, your children are blessed, you can go, but permit us, or just send our uncles to represent us.